After watching The Black Phone, you probably have some questions about the ending, and I'll be answering your questions within this The Black Phone ending explained video. But before we get into the video, just a warning that there are spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen The Black Phone movie yet, make sure to go watch it first and then come back to this video. So after watching The Black Phone, you might have some questions like why was Finney the only one that was able to talk to the other kids that died before him to ultimately be able to escape from the basement? And why did the grabber continuously change parts of his mask throughout the movie, along with other things that may have happened in the movie? And I'll be answering those questions that you might have within this The Black Phone ending explained video. Why is Finney the only one that can talk to the boys that died before him? Earlier in the movie, we find out that Finney's sister Gwen has dreams about things that happen or are going to happen, and that her father tells her that she is not like her mother, which means that her mother had similar abilities. Although it is only mentioned that Gwen has abilities that were passed down from her mother, it is never mentioned that Finney probably inherited some abilities from his mother as well. I believe the reason why Finney was the only one that was able to survive, given that he was able to talk to the boys that died before him and be given information on what to do to be able to try to escape, is that he inherited the ability to see and hear things that others can't see or hear, similar to what his mother was able to do. Even though the grabber tells Finney that the black phone does not work, it is still Finney's way of communicating with those that died before him. I believe Finney is able to communicate with all of the other boys that died before him because they all had contact with the black phone before or around the time that they all died, which gave Finney the ability to communicate with them through the black phone. This is why Finney was the only one that was able to survive the grabber, given that he has similar abilities like his sister that were passed down to him from his mother. Also, at the end of the movie, we see Finney use the same move to finish the grabber that Robin used earlier in the movie while fighting a bully, and earlier Robin also told Finney that one day he would have to stand up for himself, and eventually he does, and it allows him to survive the grabber. How did the grabber's brother not know what was going on? If you are wondering why the grabber's brother did not know what was going on in the house and that his brother was putting kids in the basement, was because at around 57 minutes into the movie, when the police officers go to the grabber's house, Max, the grabber's brother, tells the police that he doesn't actually live there, but he's just crashing at his brother's house since he's in between jobs at the moment. What was the point of Finney digging into a fridge? If you are wondering what the point of the fridge that Finney dug into, although it was used as an attempt to escape, is that the fridge had meat which was needed to ultimately help Finney get past the dog at the end of the movie by throwing the dog a steak to distract him. Why does the grabber wear a mask? We notice that the grabber wears a mask when going to see Finney in the basement, and that he wears different parts of the mask to show different emotions. When he has Finney in the basement for the first time, the mask has no expression. Then when the grabber begins the naughty boy game with Finney, the mask is smiling. But as the movie goes on, and the fact that Finney does not play the naughty boy game with the grabber, the mask has a frown, and eventually at the end of the movie, the grabber's mask is just covering the top portion of his face, but the grabber freaks out when the mask is knocked off by Finney, and I believe this is because the process of killing Finney has not been completed, and when the grabber has the mask on, he's a killer, but when given that the mask comes off before Finney dies is why I believe the grabber freaks out. What is the naughty boy game? After the grabber catches Finney and brings him to his house, the grabber then begins to play the naughty boy game that he plays with his victims. We find out about the naughty boy game that the grabber is playing at 1 hour into the movie when Griffin, who was one of the boys that died, is on the phone with Finney and tells him about the naughty boy game and that the grabber can't move on or win the game if Finney doesn't play the game. Every weekday after school, except for Robin, who was captured on a Saturday, the grabber takes a boy, and that's why the grabber is running out of time with Finney since Finney isn't playing the naughty boy game. The game has to be completed within 1 week, given that Finney's sister Gwen would go to her friend's house every Friday, and that's when the grabber would take kids typically. The grabber is always wearing parts of his mask when interacting with Finney because it's part of the game the grabber is playing. The mask is expressionless at the beginning when the grabber first brings Finney to the house, but once he gets Finney to his house is when the naughty boy game begins, and he doesn't take the mask off when it comes to interacting with Finney until the game is over. But since the grabber does not kill Finn, and Finn knocks off the mask at the end, is why the grabber freaks out. Why does the grabber only go after boys? As you can see, the grabber only goes after boys, but I believe this is because of childhood issues that he had with his father and is now doing something similar to what his dad did to him, but to kill his victims at the end of it all, and we get a hint of this at around 34 minutes into the movie when the grabber says he was down there in the basement once. Why does the grabber not feel guilty after killing his brother? The reason why the grabber doesn't feel guilty about killing his brother is because he blames Finney for him causing him to kill his brother. Dad kneeling at the end meaning. At the end of the movie, we see Gwen and Finney's dad kneeling down before his kids asking for forgiveness. I think at this point, their dad isn't only asking for forgiveness from his kids, but also to Jesus, given the spiritual references made throughout the movie when Gwen would pray to Jesus at different parts of the movie. And I think at this moment, their dad is also kneeling and asking Jesus for forgiveness, given that the camera pans to the side and we can see a cross on the ambulance right at the level of where the kids are sitting. If this video helped you to understand the ending of The Black Phone, be sure to leave a like on the video. If you have any other questions about The Black Phone movie, make sure to leave your comments down below. If you are new to the channel, I welcome you. It'd be awesome if you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.